Happy Wednesday. What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Flamesnation Live. We are good to go on a Wednesday, and hey, we've got lots to talk about. My name is Pat Steinberg from Sportsnet 960 The Fan. We are live in the Sportsnet 960 downtown studios. Let's take a look. Who do we got in? Mike was in first. JF, Jeff, Shane, all of you guys are in and more. Get your questions or topics in as you want on the side and in the Facebook chat because we are live on Flamesnation Live right now, and obviously this gets archived a little bit later on as well. Let's jump right into it. The Flames take a 3-2 win over the Winnipeg Jets last night. Here, I'll ask you the question because my answer to this question is yes. I think that was the most complete start to finish effort of the season for the Flames. I think that was the best effort of the season for the Calgary Flames. I thought they were dynamite last night. I know it was only a 1-goal win, and I know that it took until the final 2 minutes for them to complete that win, but I thought that was the best performance of the season, the most complete performance of the season for Calgary, and I'll tell you why. So, first of all, I just thought it was consistent from start to finish. I thought there were no passengers in that game, which was really important. You know, everybody contributed. You got a fourth-line goal. You had the Backlund line crushing it again, and we'll talk more about them. Lindholm scores the power play goal to win the game with less than 2 minutes to go. Bennett looked good on that line with Monahan and Gaudreau. The blue line was solid. Markstrom, while he wasn't overly tested, he was still very good and did his part. So I just felt like everything about that game was there was good elements. And was it perfect? Well, I don't know if you play perfect games, but it was a really well played, solid game for Calgary. And the term 60-minute effort is thrown around a lot. I don't exactly know what it means, but I thought that was a really solid game for the Flames last night, and I thought that was one of their best for me, no questions asked, their best overall effort of the season. And I think that's the type of game that they're going to need to put together on a more regular basis. That is the standard. And that is the type of game that they need to put on the ice time and time and time again. Not just once, because once is great. I know they've now won consecutive games with the win Saturday against the Oilers as well, but that game wasn't as complete. But that game against Winnipeg, if that becomes more often than not what we see from this group, then I think that maybe the narrative starts to change on what this team is going to be. Jordan agrees that was the best performance for a whole game by the whole team. Jonathan as well, 100% best game of the season. JF's on board as well. But let me read this one for you from Jordan in one of the comments. It says, I'm kind of worried that we'll see nothing but the trap played against the Flames would make for some boring hockey to watch. Well, so far in a lot of the games that we've seen the Flames play, yeah, it's not quite the New Jersey trap, but definitely that very easy to pick up 1-2-2, 1-4 checker, two guys in the front of the neutral zone, two guys more towards the back of the neutral zone. Yeah, you've seen a lot of that. Watching from high up yesterday at the Scotiabank Saddledome, kind of with that bird's eye view I have the privilege of getting watching the games. Yeah, you're watching, you're like, yeah, that's a very clear 1-2-2 that Winnipeg is employing on the Flames. And, that's something that if it is employed against this team, where they do, especially some of their top offensive players, the Gaudreau line in particular is most dangerous, I believe, in transition. Well, if that is a defense that we see Vancouver employ against Calgary for the next 4, or we see Winnipeg employ as they play again 4 more times this season, if that is the case, then it's on Calgary to fight through that. It's on Calgary to make sure that they're able to break through that and make some adjustments. And I thought that what we saw last night was a perfect example of how you do that. Manage the puck well. Good short area passes, especially when you're coming out of your own zone and trying to get through the neutral zone. Not a lot of those long stretches, not a lot of easily intercepted passes going east-west, or even some of those diagonal rink-wide passes. You weren't seeing those last night. It was more controlled puck support, anticipation type plays that I thought was really good and really important. That's how you break through a trap. It's shorter passes, and it's more puck support, and it's quick transition with those quick passes, and then you're into the offensive zone, and you can start to go to work and maybe catch them on the back foot. So I thought that was really important for Calgary last night. And that was a real nice step for them. So, Jordan, you might be right. That might be something that we see employed, and so then it's on Calgary to adjust accordingly. And I think if last night was any indication, then that's something that they are going to be able to do. So let's get into this one before we jump into some of the other topics on the side panel and in the chat right now. This is from last night, where the Mikael Backlund line drove the bus once again. How about that second paragraph? With Backlund, Mangiapane, and Lucic on the ice together, shot attempts 17 for Calgary, high danger chances 7-0 Calgary. They had a 93.6% share of expected goals. They had a 100% share of actual goals at 5-on-5. That was a dominant game from that line, and the second straight dominant game from that line. They also were the best line, I thought, against the Oilers on Saturday, along with the Lindholm line. But what is really impressive, and I think really important first and foremost, is that Backlund is back. And having number 11 back and looking like the dynamic two-way force that he was for the final month and a half of last season before the shutdown, that is great news for the Calgary Flames and extremely important news for this team. So that would be number one. The combination of him and Mangiapane remains strong. That's good. But tip your hat to Milan Lucic. I know that Lucic is a hot button. I know that it is very stylish to make fun of Milan Lucic or crush the Flames or crush the contract or whatever. But Lucic has been really good the last two games, too. And I think a very important contributing force to why that line has been so good. So that is another really important trend that we've seen in these last two games. That line being a two-way force. And they played most of last night matched up with Dubois and Connor. If that line is the same type of two-way force they were last night and Saturday night, and they're able to do that on a regular basis, that is a huge development for the Calgary Flames as well. So those are kind of the two topics I wanted to jump in on and present off the top. Let's populate the chat here, see what else is going on. Take a quick sip of water first. So first from Elias, as the Flames kick off a 4-game set against the Canucks on Thursday night. Elias asks, is anybody taking the Canucks lightly? The Flames need to make sure they play their game and win their games against the Canucks. I would not be taking the Canucks lightly. In fact, I would look at it more, friends, as watch out for Vancouver. I know that they are in a really, really rough spot right now, and this has been a very poor start to the season. However, it's going to be a desperate team. They know their season is teetering in the balance. They know that there is a lot of scrutiny and a lot of criticism being pointed their way right now. So, yeah, I would be wary of the Canucks. Not to say that they're going to come out and take 4 from the Flames. I just think it's important for Calgary. It's pertinent for the Flames to make sure that they're not caught off guard and they're not taking Vancouver too lightly, because these are the types of teams, even though I think Calgary top to bottom is a better team than Vancouver, these are the types of games where desperate teams on the ropes, you might be caught. So this is a really important stretch for both teams. Let's see if the Flames can take 3 of 4. If they can take 3 of 4 from Vancouver, I think that you're taking that as a vast and overwhelming success. Mike asks, what do you think of Bennett with Monahan and Gaudreau? I didn't think it was great on Saturday, despite the fact that they scored a goal. Gaudreau had a goal and an assist. Bennett finally scored his first goal of the game. I didn't love them in Saturday's game against Edmonton. I thought they were significantly better despite not getting any points last night against Winnipeg. I thought that line was quite strong start to finish, and I thought Bennett was the best player on that line. So that is what you want to see from Bennett on a regular basis as this opportunity with Monahan and Gaudreau continues. And I think it should continue. I think that win or lose, that or having great games or bad games, I think giving Bennett a run on that line is important. So if you see more of what you saw Tuesday night, well, then I think that it's going to be real easy for Jeff Ward and that coaching staff to continue to go back to having him on that line. Even if it isn't as successful as Tuesday, I still think that you need to give that a few more games, more than even a few, like give it a few more weeks of being together. That to me is really important as well. So I thought Bennett was strong with Monahan and Gaudreau last night. I didn't like it as much despite him scoring on Saturday. I thought it was way better last night. That's more of what you need to see, no doubt about it. Zach agrees that Bennett looked good. This from Shane, who says, from what I've understood, Flames have been struggling to start on time for many years. What would it take for the Flames to get to the 2004 mentality? What do you see happening with the Flames going forward? Well, I don't know about the 2004 part, but I do think that starting on time is an issue that we've seen with this group and how they're constructed now and in prior groups. That's why I thought the Tuesday game against Winnipeg was so important. The Flames played well from the get-go. They did start on time, and that's why I say, for so many different reasons, that game on Tuesday is a great example of the type of three-period, 60-minute effort this team could put on the ice and can put out, hopefully, on a regular basis. So they started on time on Tuesday, and that's something that they need to do on a more regular basis. This says, Pat, what do you expect from Gaudreau? Will he play consecutive games and get sent down? Chance he stays. Gaudreau is on the trip, I believe. As far as I know, Glenn Gaudreau has traveled with them to Vancouver. So that is good news, and that is exciting for him. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if there's no back-to-back games in this three-game set in Vancouver, so I don't know if he's going to play. Mike asked about Richie. Richie's been sent back to the AHL Heat, so I don't think Richie's knocking on the door to play either. I don't think they're going to be taking Fraze out right away. He scored, and that line was good on Tuesday. But do I think Gaudreau's got a chance to play? Sure, I do. But I'm not. I think there's a chance. If you're on the trip, I think there's a chance, and he would be the next man up at center ice. But I don't know if it's a guarantee that we're going to see him. But it's good that he's on the. It's good that he's on the trip. That's positive, and that's exciting for Gaudreau. I personally want to see Gaudreau get an opportunity. No knock on Fraze. I would have wanted to see Gaudreau personally. I would have gone Gaudreau ahead of Fraze just because I think there's more of a future in the organization, a long-term future in the organization for Gaudreau as opposed to Byron Fraze. But in saying that, Fraze scored a goal. I barely played against the Oilers, but I thought that line was pretty decent against Winnipeg on Tuesday. Him, Josh Levo, and Joachim Nordstrom played on the same line together on Tuesday against Winnipeg. Couple of responses on the Lucic part. Gregory says, finally found a spot for Luch. Yeah, I think he's a really good compliment on that line with Mangiapane and Backlund. Mike says Luch definitely looks good out there. JF, when Lucic isn't given a bleep about the game, he's kind of good. So that's a little bit more on the Lucic part. Back to Bennett, where Jordan says, I feel Bennett's a picture of the Flames on so many levels. Not always sure what Bennett shows up. Underperformed in relation to draft expectations and flashes pure brilliance now and again. Here's one from Jason. When's Oliver Shillington getting a game? I know the defense is playing well, but is it important to get him into game shape? I kind of feel like Shillington's first game, I don't know, might be when the Flames open their AHL season on February 21st. That kind of feels like it might be Shillington's first game. That is in 11 days from now. I mean, sure, could you see a bad game or two from the blue line and maybe they take a Nesterov out and put in Shillington? I don't think that's out of the question. But if I'm a betting man, my guess is the first game of the season for Shillington isn't at the NHL level, but maybe they get him into an AHL game when they open the season against the Toronto Marlies. That would be my guess anyway when it comes to Shillington. But we'll see. We'll see on that front. That's definitely something to keep an eye on. Zach with the final topic on today's Flames Nation Live says, do you start Markstrom 3 of 4 games? Riddick with only one lone start. I feel like the Flames need at least 3 of 4 in order to move up in the standings and not fall back. I would, if it's me, so the Flames in the next 2 weeks here. So today is Wednesday. So between now and not this coming Monday, but the Monday after, they play 3 against Vancouver. Thursday, Saturday, Monday in Vancouver. One more at home to Vancouver Wednesday. And then they play Edmonton back-to-back Friday, Saturday. So they've got 4 straight against Edmonton, then back-to-back against Edmonton before they head out east. So before heading out east, I would go Riddick for one of the games against Vancouver and Riddick for one of the games against Edmonton. So that is 6 games coming up, and I would go Markstrom for 4 of 6, Riddick for 2 of 6. I still understand why you want Markstrom to be playing the bulk of the games. He's been outstanding. He's probably been Calgary's best player from start to finish this season. But you also need to manage him. If the expectation is playoffs, if the ultimate goal is a deep playoff run, I still think you have to manage your number one goaltender. And even before you talk about the playoffs, I think you need to manage your number one goaltender, even for when the games get more dire as you get into late March, April, and into May. So I would go 2 of 6 for Riddick, 4 of 6 for Markstrom in the next 6-game stretch. 4 of those against Vancouver, 2 of those against Edmonton. So that's the way that I would be doing it. We'll see what the Flames do. My guess is Markstrom starts tomorrow, though. First game back in Vancouver. Yeah, you know that Markstrom's getting the start tomorrow. That's not confirmed, but I think we'd all be pretty shocked if it's not Markstrom going against the Canucks on Thursday night. Great stuff. I've got about a 10-block walk home that I'm going to be really cold. Not so looking forward to that, but stay warm more than anything else, friends. I'll stay warm if you stay warm. Bundle up, be safe. Stay safe in these weird times, and most importantly, be kind to one another. We will talk to you again with Pike on Friday night. As always, thank you so much, friends. It's been another edition of Flames Nation Live. We'll talk to you in a couple of days. Be well.